Alright, thought I'd do start a video here on reworking and rebuilding a little bit, cleaning up my 1978 Suzuki GS 550. I got it quite a while, probably 5 or 6 months ago. Pretty good price. Problem, it didn't run, so we had that going for it. Had a lot of patina on it, a lot of corrosion on a lot of the bright work, the chrome and stuff. So I've cleaned all that up. I've taken it apart. Had a problem with the battery and the electrical system I wanted to clean up. Biggest problem was the carburetor. It had quite a few clogs in the fuel circuits inside the float bowl. So that was a real fun job to clean those out. And then I went ahead and replaced all of the jets and floats and needle valves and everything inside there. Also had quite a problem with the choke. And I had to clean that out pretty good and lube that up good, but now that seems to be working fine. Just about ready to install this, and on these carburetors, it's actually 4 separate carburetors that are ganged together mechanically, and one of the things that you need to do is called synchronizing them. And when you synchronize them, really all you're doing is making sure that the vacuum on each cylinder, each carb, is pretty level across the different carburetors. And the way you do that is you put on the intake manifold, there's ports that normally have screws that plug up the ports, but you can put adapters in there and then hook a vacuum gauge up to each separate intake manifold. And what I wanted to do is get the adapters on those ports before I put in the carburetor, because once you get the carburetor in there, there's not a lot of room. So we'll go ahead and go through that. I'm going to get the carburetor installed today, hopefully, and then I've got quite a bit of work to do on the electrical. I want to clean that up. Got a new battery for it. I got a lithium phosphate or ion or whatever those lithium batteries are that are expensive. I got one of those. I know when I do that, I need to replace the regulator and fix up the electronics on that. So let me go ahead and get busy on that, and we'll bring you along and see how you guys like this. All right, well, hopefully you can see this here where I've got the adapters in on the ports. The problem comes around on the other side here where and I got these this carburetor synchronization kit off of eBay before I really knew what I needed. And the problem on this other side are the ports have a interference problem. This one here with the cover over the starter, and this one here over this cover on the other side of the engine. So I'm gonna have to take these guys off and then put these on, put the carburetor on, get the electrical done, put get it started, do the synchronization, take the carburetor back off to put these guys on. I might be able to get, well, yeah, I can probably put these on after I get the carburetor on. We'll have to see. That's going to be quite the chore though. So I'll go ahead and get that going and get these ports installed in the right place, and we'll be back to put the carburetor on. Alright, I just realized I didn't show a very good picture of this before, but hopefully you can see it now, where the intake manifold here and the adapters I had to put into the ports. I didn't want to take off this bottom cover here because I think that's part of the crankcase and I'd be dropping all the oil. So for the inside one here, I was able to take off the starter cover, and I went ahead and taped over the terminal here so that just in case, didn't want to hit anything on that. And for that one, I was able to get in here. I just had to bend this adapter here up a little bit. You might see a little bit of a bend. On this one here, I had to go ahead and take off the intake manifold And then once I did that, I was able to screw this one in, and then I put a pretty significant bend in there on that one. So I think that should work. I think we can still get the carburetor in, and once I get it in and get it synced, I'll just have to pop it off enough so that I can. Really, I just got to loosen this bolt here, take this bolt out, and then loosen the one on the other side and swing this up, and then I can unscrew this again. Or I might just I don't know, maybe I'll just leave it like that. That'd be pretty funny. Just put a cap over it, and yeah, just in case I ever need to sync the carburetors, I got the ports all there. So, anyways, let me go ahead and get set up, and we'll get the carburetor back in and see how that works. Alrighty, just so you know, I'm using an old cell phone hooked up to this Amazon doohickey setup. Um, it's got a microphone and a light, and you put it all on this tripod, and it's kind of hokey, but we're gonna give this a shot. Anyways, I want to make sure that when I do this, I've got these cable clamps in here with the screw facing on the bottom, facing out on this two facing out that way, and then the other two facing out this way. I'm gonna put a cloth down here so I don't ding up it up too much, because this is quite the brute force kind of thing that it takes quite a bit to get the carburetor into all four intake ports at the same time. I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see this, but we'll give it a shot here. So I got it kind of in spot. Now I know I'm going to need something to lever. I'm going to get a piece of wood here and another one here. Get these kind of lined up here. Let's get them started. And if I can get a block of wood in here. And work it in. Geez, I think that did it. Whoa. Yep, there it goes. Good deal. That's all in now. I just got to tighten up those cable clamps on the bottom, and then I can start putting the rest of this in. I got a air box that goes here, and then the battery tray, and then I can start working on the electrics. I had to this part here goes down here, and I had to wait until I got the carburetor. Well, I guess I didn't have to. I waited until I got the carburetor in place because the cable for it comes down around the carburetor, so it's just easier to keep that off until I got the carburetor back in place. So I'll get that put back on, get the air box in place, and we'll be back and see what we can do with the electrics. Okay, well, it's actually another day here. You can see the carburetor's back out. I had got through getting the carburetor in, and then had talked about the air box that goes back here, and then the battery holder, and there's actually also a filter box that goes back here farther. Turns out that you actually have to get the air box in and then put the carburetor in at the same time, and then you can come back here and put the air filter box in here afterwards. So after removing the carburetor probably 3 or 4 times over yesterday. I got to the point where I needed to, I could finally start getting everything together, except on between the air filter box and the air box, there's a screw that's way down here, actually 2 screws that have a bracket on them where the air filter is held in place at the top and bottom. And one of the bottoms, I remember when I took it out, that there's no way to, almost no way to get to it. So I remember the difficulty I had getting it out. So what I did is I took everything back out, and so here's what it looks like with the air box up here and then the filter box here. And you can see that there's the top bracket there, and then down there farther is the other bracket where you have to come through to connect them underneath the air box, and that makes it pretty difficult. So what I did yesterday is I went and got, well, these are the screws here that normally go through from the back side. These usually go through this way. So, but what I did is I went up to the hardware store and I got me some of these guys, a little bit longer and with a hex head on them. And along with that, I got some nuts. So you can see here, my idea is to, let me take this one off. There's actually a captive nut on these brackets here, so that you would normally put the screw in through that way. So what I've done is put the bolts in through the captive bolts, and then I'll put other bolts on it on the back, and that should give me a better methodology to get the bolts in and out. Instead of having to have a Phillips head, I'll have a hex head that I can just use a regular socket on. Now on the bottom one here, there's not really wasn't really a way to get the even get the nuts in there. So what I did is I put everything together, and then I put some got the nuts on, and then put super glue around the outside here, so that I think you can probably see that, so that we can go ahead and make these captive nuts. And that way, now when I put it all back together, then I should just be able to put the bolts through the other side into these nuts, and then screw it down with a small socket wrench here. So hopefully that worked. We'll go ahead. Let me go ahead and see if I can get this camera set up, because so what I did is I put a little bit of grease on the threads of this guy. These guys, when I put them in, to hopefully prevent the super glue from sticking to these and making it so I couldn't get them out. So let me go ahead and get set up, and then we'll see if I can get the bolts out here and leave the nuts in place. Alrighty then, hope you can see this. I did get the other nut on here, so I think this is going to work for now. At least hopefully it'll help for a couple times here to take these guys in and out. So now first I got to put in this air box here and get it situated back here, and then bring the carburetor in and try to squeeze it in at the same time. Let's see, which way does this go? Yep, so this is the right way. Let's see if we can get this in here. This is a real pain in the butt, let me tell you that. It's a good thing most everything's made of rubber and plastic. It lets you kind of squeeze it in. And once we Alright, so now I should be able to get it past there. Now the first seems to work best is to move the carburetor into the intake inlets first and then put the back part on after you get a little bit of room here. Yep, I put it on so many times now that it's beginning to be second nature. So now this guy should be able to be worked right in here. All right, now that's on. Let me grab the air filter box. Oops. Then it goes in back here. Not sure if you'll be able to see this, but the only thing I'll have to do now is make sure that when I put the screws in, especially on this bottom part here, that I get a real good fit, because you won't be tightening down anything now with the way I've got that rigged up. So, but as long as it's tight, as long as it's not rattling around, I don't think I'll care. So, all right, so let me go ahead and finish putting this together and see where we end up at then. All right, so you can see here that the one of them actually did fall off after I took it out. But one thing that I noticed that not sure how this happened, but the one that fell off was this one right here. And let's see if you can see that here. You can see this one here has ridges, and this one is a smooth flange. So I'm not sure how I actually managed to find a smooth flange at the hardware store, but this serrated one, I believe, is the one that I want to work. So I think that if I go back and especially now that it's kind of set in place, I don't think I have to have the screws through. I think I can just go ahead and put some super glue down here and get this guy back in place, and then see if that will adhere this time. I might clean this up a little bit, but yep. So figures there's probably one of these in the whole hardware store, and I managed to find it. So let me get that fixed, and we'll see what's next. All right, it's a little bit fiddly, but you can see that I got the top bracket in there. It makes it pretty sturdy here, so I'm not gonna mess with the bottom down there until I get ready to put it all back together and button everything up for the final time, since I've got to still take off the port for the carburetor synchronization. So I think we'll go ahead and end this video up here. Next time we'll be looking at this mess of wiring down here. And I've got to put the battery box in over on this side here, and that should sturdy us up quite a bit. But getting these electrics straightened out is got to do that before I start it up. So we'll be taking a shot at trying to clean this up a little bit, figure out what's what. I got a couple new parts to put in there, so we'll see how that goes. So anyways, if this is something you want to see some more of, you want to see me more of working on my motorcycle and the old guys shed out here, just go ahead and leave me a comment, thumbs up. Let me know if this is something you want to see some more of. It does take quite a bit more work and effort. I still haven't figured out the camera stuff yet, and I just noticed my microphone is pointing backwards now, so I really hope that the audio comes through on this. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Please leave me any comments, questions, suggestions down below. Please tell your friends about me, and please subscribe. Everyone, take care and be good.